Supercars on Ibiza is quite a tricky category. So far, trying to find the right balance between the meta and what is actually usable has been quite a tough challenge. The Ferrari F40, for instance, is a ludicrously good car, tons of power, but like we can see, the back end of this thing is unbelievably leery. And of course, most of the supercar category races are 900 to 1000 RP, and it's perhaps a little bit much power for the F40, with four-wheel drive of course being the superior, especially with the higher powers. We're going to have a look at some of this today. First of all, we will jump over to the night drive in the Marina, 2-lap night race, 100% asphalt, and like we mentioned, 900 to 1000 RP in the supercar category. And to kick it off, to start off with today, it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to jump into the Lamborghini Huracan just to kind of highlight that, you know, the four-wheel drive is indeed the meta for the supercar category. Like we know, the Huracan launches off the line like nothing else. Now there's a few cars that are quicker than the Huracan that will outpace the Huracan. The 2016 Ford GT, for instance, is frighteningly quick, and it will dive bomb us on any given chance. That corner there specifically, especially on lap number 1. But if we can navigate around that turn alright, we tend to perform quite well in these supercar races. We can see with the Huracan especially here, we have managed to navigate away from the rest of the pack, outbraking ourselves, going in a little bit heavy with that little turn there, but managing to stretch a bit of a lead there. And the power, the meta of four-wheel drive here with the Huracan is really highlighting in the supercars. And for me, it does create a little bit of an issue that perhaps some supercars, although are absolutely fantastic, we do and we will struggle to use them in game. Maybe we can experiment a little bit. We'll push on with this race first of all, and we'll have a look at another car in the next race for today. Like we mentioned though, we'll have a look at this race itself. A fantastic race on Ireland. I actually really enjoyed this one. You guys already know how much I'm enjoying coming over to Ibiza. The fact that we now have these tighter street circuits with boundaries, I really like that aspect. That, you know, we have to be more clinical with our driving. We have to be tighter. Yes, we can still get a little bit leery. We can see power sliding the Huracan around the last couple of corners just there. We can get the foot down and push through, you know, starting off lap number 2. But the aspect that we've now got here with the races on Ibiza is we have to now be a bit more clinical. We've got to be tighter, more precise with our driving. Over on Hong Kong Island, the roads were wide. We could use the paths, the runoffs at the side. You know, there was plenty of forgiveness in many of these races, but you take these couple of corners here, for instance, there's no forgiving. There is no room for error. You've got to be as clinical and precise as possible, and I love it. I think it's a fantastic addition into the game. Many of you guys might not like it. You might love it. Let me know in the comment section. Bring ourselves round this corner just here. We've got a tight right-hander here. We want to be very clean here and position ourselves for the left-hander here, not going wide as we will hit the outside bollards. And again, a nice little tricky tight section here. We want to just squeeze ourselves through these barriers. The Lamborghini is of course a very wide car, so we have to be very cautious coming through here, trying to stay off the curbs as much as possible. Left-hand 90, we just unfortunately clip that inside wall and it does push us out wide and right, but we can come around that last right, put the foot down, double right-hander up ahead here, take round this first one, come round the second, get the foot down, let the back end of the Huracan step out, and of course we do cross the line out there in first place, not breaking any land speed records, but we come out there in first place. So with that being said, we can see just how well behaved the Huracan truly is. And the desire that I have here is to jump into the F40 and to be able to use it in any supercar race and still be competitive. It is very tough on Ibiza. Over in Hong Kong Island, we were mincing through the pack. The F40 was fantastic. A bit of a different story over in Ibiza. We'll push over to the second supercar race, however, shopping in Ibiza town. Again, a 2.3 mile race. It's a dry day race, and again we're 900 to 1000 RP in the supercar category. And today, well, for the second race rather, we're going to jump into something a little bit different here. We're going to try and be nimble and precise with a rear-wheel drive vehicle, the Mercedes AMG GTR. I've spoken very highly of this car, still speak very highly of this one. As we dive it into turn 1, we want to get around this first little corner there in first place as AI do take out each other. Yeah, that was crucial to get around that one. That turn number 1 that was in first place, avoid the rest of the pack there. We can now stretch out the AMG GTR, and we can see what this one really got to offer us, as we do get a little bit unsettled coming over those little curbs there, and it unfortunately does push us wide into the wall. Hopefully we can now settle down here around the right hander, the back end, trying to step out. But I've spoken a few times about this thing. With a little bit of stability control added to this, yes, it's rear wheel drive, I have added a little bit of stability control to it, but adding on just 25% of the stability control level, this thing becomes an absolute monster. The power this can put down, the level of grip this thing has, it's an absolute monster. Yes, it's not the fastest supercar, I fully know that, but in terms of handling and enjoyment, this thing is frighteningly fast. But it does pose that slight issue once again, that it's a rear wheel drive car, it cannot get the power down. Absolutely no surprise, I understand how a rear wheel drive vehicle works. But there's a huge gulfing difference between the 4-wheel drive Huracan and Aventadors moving over to the likes of the AMG GTR, the Ford GTs, let's say. There is a gulf in difference, so we have to try and find that right balance, and a game also needs to find that right balance. For me, the right balance is adding on a little bit of stability control, maybe a bit of a cheat there, but that's how I'm managing to balance these cars out. We can see with the Ford GT, it's not been the cleanest, the quickest of races, but we've got through that, we've won the race by some margin at that as well. Still managing to have a ton of fun, but the compromise there was feeling like I cheated myself slightly by adding on stability control. So going forward, perhaps that's going to have to be the method, that being able to be competitive in the supercar and maybe even those hypercar races with a rear wheel drive vehicle, well, it's a simple solution. Perhaps we're going to have to add on a little bit of stability control. I want to use these rear wheel drives. There are so many fantastic supercars that are rear wheel drive, and they do suffer due to the fact that they're rear wheel drive. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Maybe a hot take. Do you use stability control or not? Move over to the third race today, a drive in the countryside, a 3.4 mile clear dawn race, 100% asphalt once again, and it is of course 900 to 1000 RP in the supercar category, and I fought tooth and nail with this one. I used nearly every single supercar that I had, from the 2006 4G to the F40 to the Pista, and I was struggling to set a good time with this one. Of course I did have to revert back to the Lamborghini Huracan to be able to set a good competitive time up there on the overall leaderboard. As always, the Huracan launching off the line fantastically well. Very heavy and tricky braking zone there into turn 1. Have seen many crashes on that one specifically. We can keep the foot down here, fully committing to this little straight section, but not wanting to outbrake ourselves into the left hand. Well, it's more than a 90-degree turn right there. Get around that one nice and cleanly. Once again, get the power back down, fully commit to this next little stretch of the road circuit here, and not wanting to outbrake ourselves into this right-hander on the brakes nice and early. We don't want to go wide, take out those walls. Going off the course there, you know you're going to end up in the mud, and it's going to be a mission to get back onto the racetrack. Left-hander once again around that one nice and cleanly, almost touching that outside wall, but overall we're negotiating this track pretty well so far, just managing to miss that lamppost on the right-hander into another right-hander just there, once again getting the power back down. What can I say? I cannot speak highly enough of the Huracan. It might be boring, and that's one thing I'm trying to stay away from, is using the Huracan in every single supercar race for these videos. I personally wouldn't want to watch the same car going around every track. Some people might enjoy that. Maybe they might enjoy me crashing like I just did there. For me, I want to try and use every car in game, be as competitive in as a wider variety of vehicles as possible, but trying to keep these videos as fun as possible. I don't want every single supercar race to be in the Lamborghini Huracan, although it seems like recently they have been. I'm trying my hardest, guys, I'm trying my hardest, but this race in particular, we can see just how big the race is in terms of how wide the road can be, how big some of these straights can be, but instantly how quickly these ones come back in, they tighten up on themselves. Yeah, the Huracan is, in my opinion, probably the best car for this circuit over in Ibiza. So a bit of a different video today, guys. It was kind of to demonstrate, the difference we've got here with the supercar and the supercar categories between the rear-wheel drive and the four-wheel drive. Trying to find the right balance for me is going to be an ongoing mission. If it's the case that I need to put stability control onto some of these rear-wheel drives to be able to get the power down cleanly enough and be competitive against the supercars, you know, so be it. Or if it's a case that I just have to start building more four-wheel drive supercars to consistently be competitive and keep these videos as, you know, fresh as possible. I'll address that one in the coming weeks. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please smash that like button, subscribe, all the usual good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos coming out all around Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.